All right, Ian, we have a Patreon poll.
Patreon.com/CU podcast. You get the full video podcast. You get a writing that I do once a week. I just did one yesterday about unsolved mysteries. I do a hangout once a month. Bop, 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 boo. And you get to vote. You get to vote on one of these. You get to vote on a poll topic once a week.
In third place, you hate summer, patrons. What was your favorite thing about the start of summer? Were you a beach kid? 15%. I'm going to do it as a topic this summer myself. I'm going to go off. What were your favorite book series growing up or recently? 19%. Wow, these are dying deaths. And the number one place, Ian, you might have to carry a lot of this. What are games?
You say that like every week.
I know. Then I pull through. I pull it out of my butt. What are games that you should give another chance?
So there are two that I've been thinking about perhaps giving another chance to at some point. One is Halo, oddly enough.
That's actually an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's one that I always think about every once in a while, perhaps trying again, because at the base of it, I don't hate first-person shooters. I mean, there are some that I like. People who listen to the podcast know that, Doom, and granted, we're going way far back with that, is one of my favorite games. And I've liked other first-person shooters. I liked other games that are first-person in the past. I really liked the first Metroid Prime. I actually enjoyed Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. The first Modern Warfare I thought was pretty good. And I did play Halo 3 a little bit when I had a 360, and I enjoyed myself with. I enjoyed my time with it. I was not very good at it though, and the people I was playing with, that was around the time that I think it was Modern Warfare came out. We moved on pretty quick, and I never went back to it. And there's nothing necessarily about the story that particularly intrigues me, but I'm not into like the realistic modern day like military stuff. And I'm not particularly interested in past wars. I like, the more science fiction or fantasy setting. And that's what appeals to me about Halo, was that it was a first-person shooter of some acclaim that people seemed to really enjoy, that wasn't a Call of Duty or a Medal of Honor or something like that. And I know the series has kind of gotten... its star has lost its luster as time has gone on. But every time it gets brought up, like the Master Chief Collection, I'm like, I should go back and I should just play those in single player and see if I enjoy them, and not worry about the online modes or anything like that. But we're also kind of at that point where single player campaigns in the like first person shooters aren't something that I think a lot of people think of. That used to be the meat and potatoes, not so much anymore. I kind of want to go back and look at those first three games and play them, and probably Reach as well, and kind of go through the story modes, because I think it's kind of a lost art, and I think I probably would enjoy it a little bit.
Masters, it's on sale, Ian, $32, a Master Chief Collection on Steam. You get Halo Reach. Oh no, this is a whole collection. You get the collection: Halo Reach, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3 ODST, Halo 4. Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I might. It's just it's every once a year. I think maybe I should give them a better shot than I did. The other one is maybe Final Fantasy 14. It seemed that's the online, that's the second online one. I've never done a lot of time with an MMO, but I know a lot of people who play that one, so I would probably have people to find. But MMOs to me just seem honestly very intimidating, and as we've talked about on the podcast before, there's a lot of they take a lot of time, and there's a lot of scheduling and things like that you've got to do to meet up with people. And I know Final Fantasy 14 is an easier online RPG to solo than other ones, but still it just seems like a pretty big commitment. That said, I'm still interested in it. So I think those are the two that I probably need to check out.
I think I should play the first Halo, just for historical purposes, in terms of, I guess, importance to obviously Microsoft and the first Xbox.
Well, and it came out around a time when you were still playing stuff like that too, so I don't think it would be that far out of
No,
the category that you would like. I mean, you were playing first person shooters in that, in 2000.
yes, that was in middle.
2001.
That was my junior year in college. That came out.
Right.
Sophomore, junior year in college. So of course, I was playing fucking Rogue Spear multiplayer, and I was playing. Was I playing Unreal? Yeah, I was playing Unreal Tournament 99. Then, and I think the original Unreal I wasn't anymore, but Tournament 99, the first Unreal Tournament. But I did play a little bit of Halo because people were playing it. People were playing multiplayer in the fraternity within rooms with each other. They set up rooms and they did it. It was like, whatever, 4 players, 4 different Xboxes. I just didn't like it because the scope just seemed more limited than the other first-person shooters at the time, and I wasn't impressed with it. The same thing why I wasn't impressed with GoldenEye, because I was used to better games. For a console, GoldenEye is amazing, but in the grand scheme of first-person shooters, it's not as special when you line up against all the other first-person shooters at the time.
And I think that's another reason why I wanted to play Halo, was because, from what I remember hearing, Halo was supposed to be the first-person shooter on a console that actually felt like a first-person shooter on a computer.
Sure.
I feel like, GoldenEye, yeah, I agree. That's also why I didn't like GoldenEye. That's why I didn't really mess with any first-person shooters on the PlayStation or the PlayStation 2. But Halo is supposed to be, this big step that presented you, and it makes sense because it was on a Microsoft console, but it gave you and this was also still at a time where PCs and computers were seen as, or PCs and consoles were seen as a big gap. It gave you that experience.
Sure. So I think I should play that first Halo. Even it's so funny. The original Xbox is probably the only console. It's the only console I don't own where I don't have an excuse, because I've seen it at the swap meet over the past 10 years dozens of times, and could have bought an Xbox for $20 or $30 so many times and just never did it. And I still don't know why to this day I never did that. I just never bought one and then either had it modded or just had it. Like, I should have an original Xbox. Like, I just don't.
Yeah, it's one of the few consoles I've never owned, even temporarily. Like, I even owned an N64 temporarily back in like 2000 because I wanted to play No Mercy when it came out. So I went and I bought a used N64 and kept it around for fucking 2 months, played the shit out of No Mercy, and then got rid of it. I owned a Super Nintendo at one point in time. I know people think that's crazy, but I did, but I got rid of it. And Xbox, I've never owned one, not even for, a week.
And now the original Xbox is like where the NES was like 20 years ago. Like, now it's like retro to a lot of these kids now, or now they're like in their 20s or 30. Yeah. They grew up with the Xbox. And so we were thinking about it, but that's what it is. Like,
I've talked to you about it. I mean, the PS2 and the Xbox, GameCube is very popular. N64 stuff is always popular. But, right now, the sections that I see people browsing the most are the GameCube, the PS2, and the Xbox, because it's exactly like you said. These people are finally getting money and jobs, and now it's their turn to go rebuy their youth.
$100 for an OG Xbox with one controller and hookups. $100.
I mean, before COVID, those were like $50 to $60.
Okay,
COVID has spiked the shit out of everything.
Okay, so all right, so 50 was more reasonable, 50 to 60. But probably the game price has gone up. I think I've seen some sports game prices go up for even like last generation or 2 generations back. So it's a weird time right now. N64 sports games even, I think, went up in value. Some of them, from what I saw. There's some weird stuff happening right now that'll be a podcast topic next week. So yeah, I think I got to play Halo. I'm gonna give. I gave it second chances on the NES Marathon every year about Mega Man, playing through Mega Man's. I should Mega Man X though. I haven't played a lot of Mega Man X. That I should.
Oh, the first one is fantastic. The first one's so good.
Is it better than the other two? Those I should, two of Super Nintendo. Those I should give another chance. Donkey Kong Country, I gave a second chance. For a lot of times, going back, I never liked the feel of Donkey Kong Country as a kid. Originally, my friends had it, and I just never liked it as a platform. I know I sound crazy because it's a classic, but I just never liked it as a platformer. I just didn't like how it felt. And I've played through a lot of it. I think I streamed a lot of it back in like January, and I gave it a second chance. I should give it a third chance. I should play through the entirety of Donkey Kong Country.
I can actually say that's one that I had always intended to give a second chance to, and actually did sometime within the past year. So I always said that I hated Donkey Kong Country. I didn't like it when it came out.
Just didn't feel right to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember not liking it, and maybe it was the age. Maybe it was I don't know. I did not care for it, and I've always said that. And I know like various people have always taken issue with that. Vonnie always took issue with it. She loves the the Donkey Kong Country games, and Gerard, the completionist, has always, we've joked about it because he loves the second one. It's like his favorite game of all time, and I just couldn't get into him. But when Vonnie got a Super Nintendo Mini for her birthday like a year ago or 2 years ago, we finally pulled it out recently, and she was like, "You want to play Donkey Kong Country?" And I said, "Sure, let's go for it. I generally don't like it, but I'll play whatever you want to play is cool. I'll have fun doing that." And I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed Donkey Kong Country. When I revisited it, I was like, "This is a lot better than I gave it credit for."
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're being crazy, but then again, like I'm the person that didn't like the Super Nintendo NBA Jam back in the day because it wasn't the arcade. Like that's how particular I was about some of this stuff.
No, I get it.
I didn't.
We were weird kids.
I didn't like the Ninja Turtles arcade on the NES because it would pale in comparison to the arcade. Things like.
I still don't like the Ninja Turtles arcade on the NES. I think it's a bad. I mean, it's admirable, but it admirable doesn't mean it plays well.
No, it plays like chunks to me.
It's very chunky and very boring.
Chrono Trigger, I should give a second chance. My story at Chrono Trigger is that when Super Nintendo emulation got big when I was in college, they figured out SNES 9X and ZSNES in the late 90s were getting there. That's when that blew up, and people were playing a lot of RPGs, at least that I knew. Like on my freshman floor, one kid almost dropped out of school because he became obsessed with Super Nintendo RPGs. It just played him all day. He wouldn't go to class.
I think you've mentioned him out in here.
Yeah, it was across the hall. His name was Alan. Nice kid. I think he got in trouble though. He literally would just stop doing work. Like he got obsessed with the RPGs. But when I played Chrono Trigger for like I want to say I played it for like a week. I want to say I got probably 80% into the game or 2/3. I played it for hours and hours. But then I made the mistake of going online and looking like, oh my God, there's like 30 different endings to this game, all based upon these different scenarios. And it pulled me out of the game. It was like almost breaking the fourth wall. I was like, but now I'm not going to get the best ending potentially, and I'm going to get a shitty ending. And like, it ruined the game for me at the time. And I can't explain it. I just didn't want to play it. So I got to try to unremember all that crap and just play through the game again.
Yeah. I that's one that I need to do as well. One game, and it's funny because there was like a Twitter prompt or something that brought it up in my mind, but there is one game that I will not ever be giving another chance to, and that is Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy III in the US. Not because it's a bad game. I've enjoyed most of my time with it. But the first time I played it, and when you brought up Chrono Trigger, it reminded me. First time I played Final Fantasy VI was on an emulator. High school, probably my senior year.
Emulator.
Because I didn't own I hadn't owned a Super Nintendo yet at that point. So I was playing, I think, on SNES 9X, and I got about 3/4 of the way through the game, and my save state corrupted.
Oh.
So I was pissed. I took a break. Didn't have any backup save states because I was dumb.
You used the one number? You didn't use the multiple numbers?
I did have like a backup save state, but it was I would have to go back like 5 hours, and I was just pissy, and I was like, whatever, I'm done. So then I tried it again with an actual cartridge when I did own a Super Nintendo for a summer at my first apartment, and got about halfway through it, and the battery gave out on the cartridge. The last time I tried playing Final Fantasy VI was after the PlayStation compilations came out. I think that's Anthology that had 5 and 6 on it. And I tried playing 6 again, and I got right just about up to where I had gotten the first time, which was very near the end of the game. And the save file on the entire memory card corrupted. So at that point, I just threw my hands up, and I was like, I'm never playing this game. I mean, that's 3 tries I've given it, and all 3 times my save files have corrupted. And I was just like, all right, that's it, I'm done.
It's fate. Is there any PC ones from like the 90s that you would give a second chance that you didn't like originally? CD-ROM era, or
Actually, one that might upset people. I really need to try the Age of Empires games again.
Oh, wow, you never played those. You didn't like them?
No, I did. I just didn't necessarily care for them at the time, but everyone speaks so highly of them, and I think I might be at a point where I'd enjoy them more.
It's more, Micro than obviously Civilization. You're commanding individual units, so
Right.
it's enjoyable. I played the first one. I think the first one I played. How did I get the first one? Was that a demo that Microsoft came out? How did I get that originally? I did
It
play
seemed like everyone had the first one. I don't know how.
They really just gave out the first one to everyone. If you got Windows 98 or whatever the fuck
Yeah,
it was.
every fucking gateway came with a copy of Age of Empires.
Yeah, how did I get that? I have the
I
same.
don't know.
I kept all my PC stuff. I have all my original stuff for the most part. I don't think I have
Weird.
the Goblins 2 game anymore. I might have
Ooh, Goblins is so good.
that. I should give a second chance. We had Goblins 2. Used to love going to KB toy stores, early 90s, like 91, 92, with my sister, and then they had all the Sierra games in the bargain bin in the front with all the software. So we bought like Goblins 2, and that was a difficult game when you're like 12.
They are hard games. I went through the Goblins games, I want to say again, maybe 5 years ago. I think they were all up on GOG or something like that. I played them recently. They're great games, but yeah, they're difficult.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want to go through Return to Zork ever again in my fucking life, though. That's for sure. I don't want to do that. I'm trying to think if I should give a second chance to let's see, I played Police Quest 1 and 3. I never played 2 or 4.
Fuck the Police Quest series.
You don't like the police? You don't like what's that guy's name? He's still trying to make games, I think. What was that officer's name? Trying to think if
there's a whole story on how shitty that whole thing was.
Oh, with him being involved?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fucking
California
story.
Highway Patrolman. Trying to think, was there any game I bought that was PC? Since I bought most of my games I bought in the 90s were PC. Was there any stuff I bought that I just didn't like or just said, nah, I'm not gonna play that again?
Myth. I bought Myth 2 because I had a buddy in high school who loved it and kept telling me that I would enjoy Myth, and I bought it and I hated it. I'm not good at like the real time stuff though at all, like the strategy. So
would you give it a second chance though?
I probably would, because I was looking at it again the other day. I was like, I wonder if maybe I just was missing something.
What's up?
Because that was a game that seemed like it was well liked when I looked back into it again. It wasn't just that I bought a bad game. Who made it? Myth 2. That was Bungie. So Bungie's come up twice today.
What was the first time?
Halo.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
maybe I'm just gonna give Bungie a second chance.
Why that Bungie multi-pack? Remember the PC multi-packs where they bundled up random fucking games with it and they put cellophane on them? Oh yeah. Like it was like 4 games they put together.
Yep.
Like Comp USA with your computer. So that was the best. But I can't remember some of those. But a lot of them were trashed up. You know who used to do that? Like a BJ's Wholesale Club would do that. Or whatever you had in New York.
Oh, yeah. I think, what did we have? I think it was BJ's.
They bundle like 5-year-old PC games together. They put them together, and there might be 1 or 2 good games out of like 4 that you could do. Oh, this is a game I should give a second chance. The LucasArts games, the LucasArts adventure games. For some reason, I never wrapped my head around them. I never actually beat Sam and Max Hits the Road.
Oh, buddy, come on.
And I had it. The great LucasArts. They did the 6 packs, and that was it. I never beat that. I never got into Day of the Tentacle. Those are the.
I kind of want to hang up on you.
Fate of Atlantis, I believe I beat, because that was in that pack as well.
Good too.
And in that pack was I think Rebel Assault 2 was in that pack. They give you the demo for like X-Wing or TIE Fighter, but I already had those in the box. Those are the best. Those we're going on a tangent. Those are the best. Those LucasArts, like it was like $50 for like 5 games and a demo. There were such good values of things. But yeah, I should give those are the games I should give Day of the Tentacle another chance for sure. And I should give Sam Max. I played through like most of it because I love that concept. But Day of the Tentacle, I never gave a shot in hell back in the day. So that I should do again. And I probably still have them somewhere. Or just buy them on good old games for $1. It doesn't make any sense to try to play the games. Just buy them for $1. That's how they get you. So, all right. Well, thanks for that. See You podcast. Patreon poll topic.